The Colosseum, whose ancient name was the Flavian Amphitheater, is one of the most political projects ever built in ancient Rome. Construction began around 70 to 72 AD under Emperor Vespasian, founder of the Flavian dynasty, and it was inaugurated in 80 AD by his son Titus with unforgettable games. Later, the building was further refined and expanded by Domitian, the third Flavian emperor, who added major underground structures. To truly understand why it was built, you have to look at Rome at that moment. Only a few years earlier, the civil war of the Year of the Four Emperors, 69 AD, had ended, and the empire needed stability, public support, and a new official story. Vespasian wasn't a pureblood aristocrat like many predecessors. He was a practical military man, and he knew that to consolidate power, legions and decrees weren't enough. Symbols were needed. And in that, the Colosseum was a masterpiece. The chosen location was no accident. The amphitheater was built in the heart of the city, in an area that had previously been part of the Domus Aurea, Nero's vast palace. After the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD, Nero had turned a huge zone into his personal property, with gardens, pavilions, and even an artificial lake. For many Romans, that was the concrete proof of his distance from the people and of his megalomania. The Flavians did the opposite. They drained the lake and built a public monument in its place, accessible to tens of thousands of people. The message was unmistakable: Rome returns to the Romans. In other words, the Colosseum was also an anti-Nero statement in stone, a break with the past and a piece of propaganda. Even the way it was financed reinforces its political meaning. The construction was funded largely with resources obtained after the First Jewish-Roman War and the conquest of Jerusalem, 66 to 73 AD, along with a massive influx of booty and tribute. That wasn't unusual. Major public works were often built on the wealth of war. But here the propaganda effect was doubled. The building celebrated imperial power and, at the same time, gave something back to the people in the form of spectacle and grandeur. Also, part of the workforce included enslaved people and prisoners, likely in very large numbers, used for the heaviest labor. What was it for? Formally, it was an amphitheater, an elliptical structure designed to host 360-degree spectacles, with a central arena and tiered seating all around. Its main function was the ludi, public entertainment funded by the authorities, including gladiatorial combats, hunts of exotic animals as nations, staged executions, reenactments and, in the very earliest phase, possibly even water spectacles. The issue of anomachia in the Colosseum is debated. It's possible that on some early occasions the arena was adapted, but once Domitian built the massive underground levels, this option became far less practical. Inaugurated by Titus, the games are said to have lasted around 100 days, an enormous feat in terms of cost and logistics. It was a way to ignite the building with an event that would remain in collective memory. The key point, however, is that the Colosseum wasn't just entertainment. It was a social machine and a technology of consent. In the empire, spectacle wasn't a simple pastime, it was a political language. Keeping the people engaged, impressed, grateful, and used to seeing authority as the guarantor of order and generosity was essential. The amphitheater staged Rome's power in a direct way: rare beasts from the provinces, trained fighters, moving sets, military discipline, rituals, and hierarchies. Everything communicated one message: the empire rules the world and can even afford to burn wealth in public. The amphitheater staged Rome's power in a direct way: rare beasts from the provinces, trained fighters, moving sets, military discipline, rituals, and hierarchies. Everything communicated one message: the empire rules the world and can even afford to burn wealth in public. Even the seating plan was political. The tiers were organized by rank: senators in the best seats, then the equestrian order, then the general public, and higher up the less prestigious categories. Each time, the audience could see and almost breathe in Rome's social structure. In this sense, the Colosseum worked like a miniature city, a giant theater where Roman order was reaffirmed with the same naturalness as watching a fight. From an engineering standpoint, it was a marvel. The building is a colossal ellipse, constructed with a combination of travertine, tough, brick, and above all Roman concrete, which allowed strong structures to be built quickly. It had a system of entrances and corridors designed to move thousands of people in and out rapidly, a surprisingly modern concept. At the top were the supports for the velarium, a huge system of awnings that could shade part of the seating. Sailors and specialized crews were needed to manage it. Beneath the arena, under Domitian, the hypogeum was created, a complex network of corridors, cages, lifts, and trapdoors that enabled sudden appearances of animals and fighters, turning the arena into a mechanized stage. Over the centuries, the Colosseum's use changed. Shows continued for a long time, but they weren't eternal. Economic crises, cultural and religious shifts, and then the slow decline of the Western Empire reduced both the frequency and the scale of the games. Earthquakes and spoliation did the rest. Many stones were reused as building material in other structures, a common practice in the Middle Ages. Yet despite wounds, collapses, and transformations, the Colosseum has remained standing as an extraordinarily powerful symbol. Today we remember it mainly as a historic monument, but in its own time it was a weapon of mass communication. It showed that the emperor could control the city, provide spectacle, distribute wonder and fear, and above all rewrite Rome's image after years of chaos. In this sense, the Colosseum is far more than an amphitheater. It is proof that architecture, when it serves power, can become propaganda visible from miles away and unforgettable for millennia.